In the My Hero Academia fandom, for a lot of people, Ochako is nothing more than just Deku's love interest. Everything about her and her character development just revolves around Deku. For Toga, it's more or less the same thing. And yeah, to a certain extent, it's true, but there's a lot more to it than just that, as both Ochako and Toga's character developments intertwines with each other through their emotions and feelings that plays a big role into who they are, as well as the story itself. Ochako and Toga are more than just the romance that surrounds them. For Toga, society failed her by continuously telling her that she had to bottle up all of her emotions that her quirk made her feel so that she can live a normal life. She was born with a quirk where she transforms into someone when she drinks their blood, so naturally she's always had a strong fascination with blood. For Toga, this was completely normal. Sucking blood was how she expressed her admiration. When she loves someone, she sucks their blood. But society was never going to accept loving someone in that way, so she shut her feelings away to live a normal life like everyone wanted her to. Her bottled up emotions only grew to the point that when she saw a classmate bleed from a fight, she couldn't handle it anymore and she stabbed and drank his blood, finally breaking free from her mask, letting her emotions flow freely for practically what felt like the first time, and to be able to be herself and express her love by sucking their blood and in turn becoming the person she loves. Later, she even gets the added bonus of being able to use the quirks of those that she truly loves. She was able to accept herself in a way where no one else would, by accepting that for her, this isn't weird, it's normal. It's her normal. Toga as a character is driven by her emotions. Her entire personality is based on how she views love and her own feelings regardless of how it affects others. Ochako, on the other hand, is someone who, unlike Toga, is viewed as quite normal by society's standards. When it comes to her emotions, she actively keeps them bottled up. As a hero, Ochako is focused on rescuing others and protecting heroes in need of help, hence putting them above herself. She is greatly inspired by Deku in many ways and ends up having strong feelings for him. In Ochako's point of view, her romantic feelings towards Deku gets in the way of her being a hero because she understands that her feelings can affect others. So to prevent them from getting in the way, she ends up bottling everything up. Ochako in a sense views love and her feelings as something that holds her back and keeps her from being a true hero, though her ideals lead her to want to save the lives of many, including heroes. That compassion, along with her feelings that she actively shuts down, keeps her from viewing villains in the same light. These two characters are quite different but parallel each other perfectly, as they both handle similar emotions but in opposite ways, and the same goes for how they handle love. Toga, when thinking about the people she loves, it makes her want to become them. Ochako is similar in the sense that she wants to be more like Deku, but not become him like Toga does. Rather, it's shown through her making upgrades to her costume and gaining a new fighting style that makes her more like him. These parallels are why the two are arch enemies and are pitted against each other a lot, because only they will be able to learn from and understand each other the most. Toga is honestly the most self-aware of this because she always states that her and Ochako are very much alike. It's why after the war arc, the two end up reflecting on their previous encounter heavily. Ochako's words stating, "If you're going to live as you please and threaten people, then you have to live with the consequences," led Toga back to the home she had once grew up in that's now abandoned and riddled with terrible writings about her and her family for the crimes she committed. A home that rejected her because her quirk was turning her into someone who didn't fit society's standard of being a normal little girl. Even though for Toga, her quirk gave her this perfectly normal admiration for blood, and in every sense of the word, this was completely normal. But this home represents how society had seen her, a demon with a strong fascination with blood, something that society could never accept and see as normal. Yet, after walking through her old home, reminiscing about the past, she says to herself that she threw it all away. This shows shows that Toga realizes her actions of doing as she pleased led to this being the consequence, where she isn't even seen as a person anymore. It also shows how she realizes how society was quick to shame her for her actions and who she was, but when someone who is viewed as a hero ends up murdering a villain, they aren't held to the same standards. For them, heroes and who they protect are the only ones seen as real people. She would always be looked at as a villain because of who she is. The world had already rejected her, so now she rejects the world. For Ochako, Toga fleeing their fight in tears made her realize that something was off. Later on in her speech in defense of Deku staying at UA, the compassion she lets out for her classmate and feels for her fellow heroes ends up making thoughts of Toga pop into her head. With time to reflect on this, she comes to understand that during her fight with Toga, she had said stuff to her that she thought was obvious in response to Toga's questions about feelings and romance. Stuff that Ochako knows that she takes for granted. And even though Toga is a villain who ended the lives of many, she is still a person too. Ochako doesn't have a clue as to what's obvious for Toga and what she takes for granted, and she ends up coming to the realization that she doesn't know the first thing about Toga. Up until that point, she's only ever seen her as a villain. This shows that Ochako's slight release in her bottled up emotions made her capable of seeing Toga as more than just a villain, but as a person. From their reflections, I believe that in Ochako and Toga's final battle, we're going to see them learn how to love and accept themselves for who they are. Toga learning how to fully love herself and others in a way where she doesn't need to hurt them to show her love for them, and Ochako learning how to embrace her emotions and extending those emotions to villains to try and save them as well as those they try to hurt. What's sad about this whole thing is that regardless of what happens and how they end up resolving their problems, people are just going to dumb it down to Ochako and Toga really just being the love interest or just outright weak characters because of their developments revolving around emotions and love and Deku, when both Ochako and Toga's character developments retroactively fit many of the themes of the story. Being able to accept who you are and treating yourself and others like a human regardless of the label given to you by society, whether it be hero or villain, is important to the overarching narrative of My Hero Academia. Shinso, Shoto, Endeavor, Creati, All Might, and Deku, just to name a few, have all undergone or are currently in the process of overcoming and accepting who they are. So no, it's not as simple as Ochako or Toga being in love. Heroes need to let themselves be human and not have this closed mindset of heroes good and villains bad. And even though it doesn't excuse their actions, villains need to be accepted and be seen as human. And for Ochako and Toga, they should be seen as more than just the romance that surrounds them. I hope this video was able to shed some light on two characters who I believe deserve more credit than they actually get. If you enjoyed the video, then I would appreciate it if you would Detroit smash that like button down below, as well as share the video to help it reach a wider audience and boost the algorithms and all that in order to help the channel grow. And if you're new to the channel and liked what you saw, then consider subscribing for more My Hero Academia content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.